Welcome back. This is Chicken Philosophy, the secret of the golden flower. Part 10. If you would like to start at the beginning of the translation of the secret of the golden flower from English into Chinese, then start with part 6. If you would like to hear 5 episodes of introduction, or if you would like to, see how this series got started, then start with part 1. Either way, you'll want the playlist. The playlist is right here. Go ahead and click it. Bye. So the rest of you, I assume, are intentionally here for part 10. So let's get to the divination. First, the incense. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's doing well. I'm doing well. There's currently no electricity here. I mean, we've got an inverter. We've got it charges. So these lights work. But anyway, some battery on the laptop and on the phone. So I'm using it to do this. Because there we go. This is my favorite incense. It's called Yangtze. I don't know how to pronounce it. But at first glance, you would think that it's the river. In fact, once... So there's the famous, as the Americans say, Yangtze River. But there's also a Yangtze, spelled exactly the same, Yangtze, Tibetan monastery in Nepal. So, yeah, anyway, I'm not sure about that, but this isn't necessarily named after the river, considering it's Tibetan incense. And again, I have many. I have all the Tibetan incense that I could find in all the places that sell Tibetan incense that I've been to in the Tibetan colony in New Delhi, in Darjeeling, in Sikkim, Gangtok, Sikkim, and basically anywhere where there's Tibetan incense I've been. And this is my favorite, so there it is. See, there's some nice art there. And there's only 4 left. And I'm not even really sure where I found this, but I'm going to have to find some more. It is available online, but I don't want to order it online. So I might have to go a period of months without my favorite incense, but that's what I'm smelling right now. It's my favorite incense. Anyway, enough about that. I think that's enough of an advertisement. So if you're ever in a place that sells Tibetan incense and you see this and you think, hey, that's like the river, and you remember me saying this, I recommend it. I mean, they're all good. Most of them. There's 1 or 2 that I'm like, this is less good. Actually, one of the more expensive ones, I'm like, wow, this must be really good. It's expensive. And I lit it and I'm like, why is this not good? It's like odd. By expensive, I mean like it's a few dollars instead of less than $1. Here in India, it's different. If you were buying it in U.S., it'd probably be the difference between like $20 and $7 or something. It's just, the markup is crazy. So I recommend it if you ever have the opportunity to get yourself some. Let's get to the I Ching flip. I'm going to call the 5 on the 5 Jiao coin. Let's call that heads. I don't know why. I feel like that's heads, and the flower on the back is tails. Maybe because I'm used to, isn't there like a flower on the back of the dime? Let's get to it. The 5 is heads. That means unbroken line. And the non-5 is tails. Okay, here we go. Heads. Tails. Heads. Heads. Tails. Tails. Okay. Turn up the music, would you, Editor Edward, while I look that one up. Ken. Lee on top, Ken on bottom. The top 3 is Lee, the bottom 3 is Ken. It's called Lu, the Wanderer. We are all wanderers in the unknown. Those who travel beside the sage are protected from harm. Now I know that by sage they mean like the great master, the wisest one, the person who's enlightened, etc., etc. But we can pretend it also means the plant, if we want to. Okay, let's put that up there. The Wanderer, Lu. I was thinking recently that, because I've been reading just this top part, but there's like a page, at least, there's a page about each one. And so I think when we finish The Secret of the Golden Flower, I was originally going to read the Samurai book, but I think before we shift gears completely into something like that, after we finish The Secret of the Golden Flower, which we're about a third of the way through, so we'll get to maybe part 30 before we're finished, I'm going to go through this whole thing. We're going to read the I Ching after The Secret of the Golden Flower. So we're going from a little obscure and specific and recent to ancient and very, very, universally known around the world. I mean, to a great degree. Okay, so to get to today's reading. All right. 4. Circulation of the light and making the breathing rhythmical. Master Lutzu said, "The decision must be carried out with a collected heart and not seeking success. Success will then come of itself." It's not wrong. I mean, experience has taught many, and it's the most infuriating advice. Like, for example, if somebody's like, "I'm trying to hook up, I just can't find someone of the whatever, the person, their preference for someone to, as they say, hook up with. They're out looking, and the best advice that can be given to such a one is stop looking. And they're like, it's all I can think about. I wake up thinking about it. I search for it on the various websites I frequent. I search for images of my favorite type of human for hooking up with. And I go to sleep thinking about it. I dream about not getting it. And then I go to the bars at night, every night, looking for one. And they all see me and go, which is why I hate women now, and you're like, okay, dude, stop looking. And it is the best advice, though. The best thing you can do is focus on something else, especially if it involves getting in shape. That helps too. But the point is, if you can shift your focus away from that, you're much more likely to be, considered attractive than if you're out there like, you want to come home with me? Like, no, they won't. That's never going to happen. And that's the simplest and most sort of animalistic example of something that can apply equally to many, many, many things. Obviously, you have to try if you want to succeed in a particular thing, but it does help. It's good advice is what I'm saying. It sounds like a paradox. It sounds infuriating. It sounds frustrating. It sounds like advice that you want to throw away and disregard, but it's not. It's good advice. If you want success, stop wanting success. If you want to actually get success, stop wanting success. Obviously, take steps towards success. If you stop walking towards success, you'll never get success. You've got to walk towards success and just want to breathe. Just want to be here. Just want to enjoy life. Enjoy the journey. You know? If nothing else, if it takes 5 years to get there, you won't be spending 5 years tearing out your hair going, my God, when's it going to get here? To such a degree that when it finally comes, it can't possibly live up to how much you've built it up as the end-all, be-all, penultimate existence. Because it won't. That's why, you know, so many people are like, I finally achieved my dreams, but I'm unhappy. Yeah, because you're still alive in the world. And being alive in the world means little aches and pains. It means gravity. It means paper cuts. It means bad moods. It means liquor shits, if you drink liquor, for instance. You know, things when they're a distant memory, somehow all that stuff kind of gets erased. And you go, oh, you can actually remember fondly a time which at the time was absolutely miserable. Like, oh yeah, I remember being a teenager, riding around with my friends. I wish that I could experience that now rather than the me that was there at the time, because the me that was there at the time was always whining about how his parents died. Well, okay, I guess he was going through a lot, you know, that kind of thing. Okay. Success will then come of itself. In the first period of release, okay, you're talking about coming of itself and then release. How can I resist pointing out? Anyway, in the first period of release, there are chiefly two mistakes: indolence and distraction. But that can be remedied. The heart must not enter into breathing too completely. Breathing comes from the heart. I mean, anatomically speaking, literally speaking, biologically speaking, they're definitely closely connected. You've got the artery going in and the vein coming out, and never mind. All right. What comes out of the heart is breath. As soon as the heart stirs, there develops breath energy. Breath energy is originally transformed activity of the heart. When our ideas go very fast, they imperceptibly pass into fantasies, which are always accompanied by the drawing of a breath. I mean, to be fair, while you're alive, everything is accompanied by the drawing of a breath and an exhale. So that correlation, okay, I'll just keep reading. There's a point being made, and I don't mean to. Right. Yes. Because this inner and outer breathing hangs together like tone and echo. Daily we draw innumerable breaths and have an equal number of fantasies. Speak for yourself, author of it. And thus the clarity of the spirit ebbs away as wood dries out and ashes die. Okay, Mr. Sunshine. So then, should a man have no imaginings in his mind? One cannot be without imaginings. Should one not breathe? One cannot do without breathing. The best way is to make a medicine of the illness. Yes. Speaking of making a medicine of the illness in this very specific context of having imaginings and the mind and stuff like that, I've got a little present for you, for those who make it to the end of this video. After the chicken cluck, something very special that I put up a couple days ago. And if you have been watching Chicken Philosophy for more than 1 or 2 episodes, then you will particularly get what's happening. I mean, it will be nice to get some background as to what's going on Chicken Philosophy. I'm just saying, there's a thing at the end of this video, it relates to what I just said. Yes. Make a medicine of the illness. Since heart and breath are mutually dependent, the circulation of the light must be united with the rhythm of breathing. For this, light of the ear is above all necessary. There is a light of the eye and a light of the ear. The light of the eye is the united light of the sun and the moon outside. The light of the ear is the united seed of the sun and moon within. I'll keep reading. I admit I don't quite understand what is being said right now, but continuing. The seed is thus the light in crystallized form. Both have the same origin and are different only in name. Therefore, understanding, ear, and clarity, eye, are one and the same effective light. And that's I as in E-Y-E. There's a footnote. The Chinese character for breath, Hsi, is made up of the character Tzu, of self, and the character Hasin, heart, consciousness. Self-consciousness. Oh, breath is self-consciousness. Okay. Or of heart, self-consciousness. Thus, it can be interpreted as coming from the heart, having its origin of the heart, but at the same time it describes the condition in which the heart is at one with itself, i.e. quietness. Cool. In sitting down, after lowering the lids, one uses... Sorry, I have to raise the lids if I want to keep reading. One uses the eyes to establish a plumb line, and then shifts the light downward. But if the transposition downward is not successful, then the heart is directed toward listening to the breathing. One should not be able to hear with the ear the outgoing and intaking of the breath. What one hears is that it has no tone. As soon as it has tone, the breathing is rough and superficial and does not penetrate into the open. Then the heart must be made quite light and insignificant. The more it is released, the less it becomes. The less it is, the quieter. All at once it becomes so quiet that it stops. Then the true breathing is manifested, and the form of the heart comes to consciousness. If the heart is light, the breathing is light, for every movement of the heart affects breath energy. If breathing is light, the heart is light, for every movement of breath energy affects the heart. In order to steady the heart, one begins by taking care of the breath energy. The heart cannot be influenced directly. Therefore, the breath energy is used as a handle, and this is what is called maintenance of the concentrated breath energy. Children, do you not understand the nature of movement? Condescending much? Sorry. Movement can be produced, this was written 300-400 years ago, I don't know when. So it's fair. He could be our great or more grandfather, after all, or grandmother. Have you seen that episode of Xena where it turns out it's Lao Tzu's wife writing everything? Never mind. In the book of Elixir, there's a footnote, I'll get to that. It is said, quote, "The hen can hatch her eggs because her heart is always listening," end quote. Footnote, a secret book of the sects, S-E-C-T-S, of the golden life pill, parentheses, the legendary tradition of this book, Tan Shu, goes back very far. See Richard Wilhelm, Das Buch der Zeit, Jena 1930, page 302, bracket parentheses, Das Scharlachbuch, and bracket parentheses, the present Taoist canon no longer has a book by this title. H.W. End parentheses. That was a cool footnote. It had its twists and turns. It got all German at one point. That is an important magic spell. What is? The hen can hatch her eggs because her heart is always listening. Important magic spell. And hear the softly spoken magic spell. Love Roger Waters. The hen can hatch the eggs because of the energy. Because of the Das energy. Of heat. But the energy of the heat can only warm the shells. It cannot penetrate into the interior. Therefore, she conduct. By the way, Mr. Tortoise, what do you think of penetrating into the interior? I thought you might say that. Therefore, she conducts this energy inward with her heart. This she does with her hearing. In this way, she concentrates her whole heart. When the heart penetrates, the energy penetrates. And the chick receives the energy, meaning baby chicken in this context. And the chick receives the energy of the heat and begins to live. Like with the sage, you could pretend that it means something other than a baby chicken. In which case, buddy, that term isn't very PC anymore. Not supposed to call them chicks. Supposed to call them women. Or whatever they prefer to be called. Anyway, where were we? Sorry. Therefore, a hen, even when at times she leaves her eggs, always has the attitude of listening with bent ear. Thus, the concentration of the spirit is not interrupted. Because the concentration of the spirit suffers no interruption, neither does the energy of heat suffer interruption day or night, and the spirit awakens to life. The awakening of the spirit is accomplished because the heart has first died. When a man can let his heart die, then the primal spirit wakes to life. To kill the heart does not mean to let it dry and wither away, but it means that it has become undivided and gathered into one. Sorry, on the live, the heart? Never mind. The Buddha said, quote, when you fix your heart on one point, then nothing is impossible for you, end quote. Check back with me in 10 years when I finish the Tipitaka. Maybe it'll be sooner. I've been working on it for 2 years and I'm in the middle of the 4th book. Check back with me in 15 years and I'll let you know if the Buddha actually said that or if someone 1,000 years later said the Buddha said that, because that happens. Anyway, assuming we're talking about Siddhartha Gautama. Okay, where were we? The heart easily runs away, so it is necessary to concentrate it by means of breath energy. Breath energy easily becomes rough. Therefore, it has to be refined by the heart. When that is done, can it then happen that it is not fixed? Seems like a rhetorical question. Seems like the answer is supposed to be no, but I'm like half spaced out and when you're like not even really there and you kind of just sort of like based on someone's tone of voice, you're like, oh, okay, gee, oh, that's too bad. And they're like, what do you mean it's too bad? I'm $1 million richer because of it. And you go, oh, oh yeah, that's a good point. And they're like, what, where are you? Are you paying any attention at all to what I'm saying? And you're like, yeah. You ever have that happen? Anyway. The two mistakes of indolence and distraction must be combated by quiet work that is carried on daily without interruption. I gotta work on the distraction one, apparently. Then success will certainly be achieved, unless you want it. If one is not seated in meditation, one will often be distracted without noticing it. To become conscious of the distraction is the mechanism by which to do away with distraction. I'm conscious of my distraction. That's something. Indolence of which a man is conscious, and indolence of which he is unconscious, are 1,000 miles apart. I'm pretty conscious of my indolence, I'd say. Unconscious indolence is real indolence. Conscious indolence is not complete indolence, because there is still some clarity in it. Distraction comes from letting the mind wander about. Indolence comes from the mind's not yet being pure. Fair enough. Distraction is much easier to correct than indolence. It is as in sickness. If one feels pain and irritations, one can help them with remedies. But indolence is like a disease that is attended by lack of realization. Distraction can be counteracted. Confusion can be straightened out. But indolence and lethargy are heavy and dark. Distraction and confusion at least have a place. But in indolence and lethargy, the anima, the po. Forget that I said anima, the po. The P'-O, which is related to yin and has nothing to do with any of the various many definitions of anima except for that of Richard Wilhelm. So forget I said anima. The po. And the po alone is active. Because see, if anima is the soul, the female, like, higher self-reflection of a male human, as Carl Jung says it is, then to equate that with some shitty force that's like earthbound and not good and ultimately perishes at the point of your death is, let's say, problematic, right? So let's go with the original Chinese, shall we? You see what I mean? It's not just an arbitrary decision I'm making. There's a little bit of thought here. Anyway, lethargy and the po alone is active. In distraction, the hun, that's what he translates as animus, which is the good thing, because boy good, girl bad, right? We all know this. 1930 Germany, even if you're a New Ager who's translating Chinese stuff. In distraction, the hun is still present, but in indolence, pure darkness rules. Okay. If one becomes sleepy during meditation, that is an effect of indolence. Only breathing serves to overcome indolence. Although the breath that flows in and out through the nose is not the true breath, the flowing in and out of the true breath takes place in connection with it. And, we're still in the middle of a section, but that's okay. I want to keep these episodes at about a half an hour. And so for that reason, I am going to close right there. And, wishing everybody the best. Blessings of Lord Buddha sitting under the Bodhi tree be with you. And all that. And as promised, just wait for the chicken cluck. And as soon as the chicken is done clucking, click the link in the middle of the stream.